Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast. My name is Catherine Zinkina, and I'm a manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. If you're looking to massively up-level your life, your finances, your relationships, your productivity and success, then you have come to the right place. My goal in this podcast is to help you see the infinite potential within yourself to be, do, and have anything that your heart desires. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of mindset development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going. Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategies, and teachings that you need to manifest a reality wilder than your wildest dreams. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today, and now let's begin. Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Manifestation Babe podcast. I am currently sitting in, believe it or not, the boardroom of my building. It is Christmas Eve at like 1 p.m. My mom is on a walk with Orion right now. She is his full-time nanny, which we're going to get into in the next episode because I got so many life updates for you. You have no idea. There's a lot to unpack here. For now, before I get into new beginnings, I want to summarize everything with endings. So here I am in the boardroom. There's a lot going on in my house. Brennan is running errands. My mom is on a walk with Orion. Grandparents are coming later. My best friend might stop by. And I am just dying to get this episode out to you. I don't know what is going on, but I'm like feeling agitated. This is actually something I've come to learn about myself, that whenever I feel agitated, like very itchy and antsy, I don't know the right word. It's like an internal feeling. It's not like a physical itching, even though weirdly enough, my hand itches now. So maybe it is actually physically, where I need to record something or I will literally go crazy. Absolutely nothing will satisfy me. There's not a single task that I could do that would give me the same level of satisfaction that recording a podcast episode or making a video or a module or writing an email or something would give me. So here I am, Christmas Eve, popping in to record an episode all about the 7 biggest lessons of 2022. And holy shit, there's probably so much more. But in the last 24 hours, as this idea for an episode came to me, I'm like, okay, let's see what wants to come through for this episode. Let's see what stands out to me as the biggest lessons of 2022. And I'm bringing them to you with these 7. This year has been such a big year for me, especially in my personal life. So obviously I gave birth to my first baby, my beautiful, precious son, Orion. And there's a lot that the pregnancy and the birth and the labor and oh my, so many things, brought to me, so many gifts, so many lessons, so many beautiful, the best word for it is lessons, really, truly. It's been such a school for me. And of course there's other stuff as well. So I want to get into it. Without further ado, let's dive in. Number 1 lesson that I learned in 2022 was that absolutely nothing great in my life ever, especially not in 2022. And finally, I solidified this as a lesson that I'm like, yes, I think I grasped it. Finally, I've embodied it. I understand. I know it. It is a knowing in my body, which is nothing great ever comes out of pressure and obligation. Making your energy a cheap commodity versus a gift from source, which it is. I, as well as so many people out there, maybe you relate to this, maybe you will resonate. I know there's a reason why you're in this podcast episode. I believe that the ones that you feel drawn to listen to, there's obviously a gift for you within it, wherever it is. Maybe this is the gift for you, which is you'll relate to how so many people get caught up in FOMO and they just live their life from FOMO. they have this like FOMO, especially, one that I have had and have every now and then, which is feeling like I need to constantly show up online and feeling like I need to constantly, and this is something that before I learned my human design and how I'm not built to show up day in and day out, I really need to like go into my metaphorical cave and hide and just kind of process things and learn things and be my weird mad scientist self, especially when I'm very into learning or creating something. And then I come out of it and I'm like, all right, I'm here to chill. I'm here to chat. I'm here to share. I'm here to teach. I need to learn and then I teach. It's these cycles that I go through. And I used to hold so much judgment against myself. Like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I be consistent? And I finally realized that we are not all meant to be consistent. Some people are literally created to be consistent, and some people are just not. And I think that the biggest mistake that we can make is to show up with show up online in our businesses, in our relationships, in our whatever it is, any area of life out of obligation. Your energy is not a cheap commodity. It's a priceless gift. And a great example of this is, I remember noticing this for the very first time amongst one of my, I'm not going to name names here, okay? So don't even ask me. But I used to listen to a podcast that I religiously listen to. I love this podcast. And then I noticed that after some time, especially working with this person pretty closely and getting to know this person, and uncovering their kind of personal life and realizing that they are in they're recording this podcast, or they're in their podcast day in and day out, making multiple episodes per week because it is, of course, very profitable for them. So I learned that. Okay. So this is not necessarily connected. This is just information that made sense for me. So I know that the podcast was extremely profitable and it was something that was making this person very successful. And through listening to the episodes, eventually I noticed that there was like 1 year of this person's podcast where I could just tell that they were there out of obligation. They were pushing record, bringing on guests, and just like their energy, even though the podcasts were still great, the guests were still fantastic. I learned so much. I could just tell that the host was fucking bored. Okay. And I remember making a decision, this is like way back in the day, okay, that I would never, ever, and of course I fucked up somewhere along the way because I'm human. But I remember solidifying that as a lesson, being like, I don't ever want to show up in anything from obligation, which is why my podcast, if you've noticed, if you've been a long time listener, I don't promise. And maybe I have before, and I'm sure I have, but I do my best not to make too many promises because for me, I want to like wake up on Christmas morning and be like, I want to record an episode, and not be like, well, Catherine, you don't need to, you know what I mean? Or like, you promised to, launch an episode every single Monday at 2:00. And so therefore it's time to record. Like, I don't want to be that way. I want to just get up one day and be like, I feel like recording 47 episodes and then disappear for 4 months, because that's just what makes my energy when I finally put a podcast out be a gift to the world. I used to feel so much pressure around making a genius, groundbreaking, life-shifting post and story on Instagram and this and that. And I've just come to realize that if I could just be potent once a week or potent once every other week and cause massive shifts in someone's life on a less consistent basis, is that more important than me showing up half-ass on a daily basis? And absolutely not. Being pregnant this year it's actually like half the year, because my pregnancy really started in 2021, November, ended in August of this year. So 8 months. Yeah, I would say that's most, right? Yeah, that's most of the year. and especially maternity leave, then it really makes it most of the year. Yeah. I could not be bothered to show up at all. Like it was just pulling teeth to get me to do certain things. I'm sure my team is just like, oh God, here we go. Like we lost her. We lost her, never to be found again. And I struggled with that. And it wasn't until, what was it? Somewhere close to birth. Was it June, July, somewhere like that, where I saw my shaman in Sedona, which I normally do. Whenever I go to Sedona, I tend to see him, and I feel incredibly blessed and grateful for that because that's just not an opportunity that everybody gets, and I understand that. And I think it was his birthday, actually. Yeah, because I remember the whole night being like, Catherine, don't ask him questions. Just like let him enjoy his birthday, let him open his gifts. And at the end of the night, he looked at me and he said, so how are you doing, girl? He always calls me girl. And he just like, and then I just unloaded on him. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know. I feel so disconnected, this and that and that and that and that and that. And I remember ending the night being like, what the fuck? Why did I just unload on him? And I totally forgot that he asked me, a question for a reason. I think he could sense that I was holding on to this weight. And I told him, like, I have so many ideas. I really know that I'm meant to give so much to the world, but I just can't be bothered right now. And it stresses me out. I don't know what my purpose is, which to anyone looking at me, I think that people who get to meet me in real life and that I become friends with, and, they hear me tell them in person, like, hey, yeah, I also don't know what my purpose is. And I hear from them being like, what? Seriously, Catherine? Like you're totally in your purpose. And it's like, I just want to normalize that even me, sometimes having had created so much success with this one purpose that I have, which is Manifestation Babe, which is being a coach, a transformationalist, whatever you want to call me. I don't even know what to call myself sometimes because I feel so multifaceted in what I do. I'm not just a manifestation coach. I feel like I'm so much deeper than that. But yeah, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what my purpose is. And so anyway, I told him, I unloaded him, and he was like, Catherine, right now, the only thing you need to be focusing on is growing Orion. And by this point, he knew, Orion's name and everything. And actually, he knew Orion before I did. We can get very esoteric with this story about Orion. Maybe, I don't know if I shared this on the podcast. I know I shared it in my stories. If you go to my highlight Orion, I talk about why I named him Orion and how the name came to me. And it's actually a pretty crazy story. So let me know if you want me to like tell it on the podcast. I don't mind at all because I've talked about before around communicating with my unborn child and just knowing that my first would be a son and, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, I digress. He said, number one priority right now is growing Orion, and everything else is going to fall into place. And I was like, but what if it isn't? He's like, I'm telling you, everything is going to fall into place. I'm like, okay. And immediately I flash back to Tony Robbins sharing my favorite quote that I've applied in my business so many times before that I never connected to my pregnancy until that moment, which is life will always support that which supports more life. Basically, let me just say this in layman's terms, I guess, because a lot of people ask me, what does that mean? What it means to me is that when you take care of other souls, so for example, as a business owner, having a team, I recently posted on my Instagram around all the benefits that my team gets. Like someone asked me if I feel guilty for how hard my team works for me and how little I work or something like that. And I'm just like, you guys have no idea how well taking care of these people are. Yes, we all work hard. We all take lots of aligned action steps. Listen to my hustle episode. It's a really good one. But at the same time, like these people get to work whenever they want. We have unlimited vacation days, like whatever. I just listed all this stuff. And I used to be so terrified of having a team because I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay them. Like, what if one day I run out of money and I can't pay them? Like, what if my business like stops or something? And I found that by growing my team and taking care of my team, the universe has rewarded me. My business has exponentially grown because I take such good care of my team. I take such good care of my students. I take such good care of my clients. I do not do anything half-assed. I like my work is so important to me. It's just, I can't imagine doing anything half-assed. It's because I really value the energetic exchange that I receive with my team, with my students, with my clients, with you as my listener on the podcast. I don't ever want to put a half-assed podcast out there. So life always supports that which supports more life. Me taking care of this soul who is incarnating into my personal freaking body / life / family. The more that I take care of him right now, just being pregnant and not worrying about everything, just being his mom and not worrying about everything, I will get taken care of. And I cannot tell you the moment he was born, how fucking true that was. My business right now, like my inspiration, my creativity, my business is blowing up again. And it's so exciting. I've never been so excited about my life, my business, my creativity, my ideas, what I'm learning, what I'm giving. It's just, so incredible. But you can't force that. And so forcing it makes your energy a cheap commodity, and it's not. That's how you drain yourself. You have to every single day when you're making a post or recording a podcast or going to work or doing a service or showing up as a parent or whatever it is, ask yourself, like, if this was a gift that I was giving to this other human, how do I want it to feel? Right? Think about it. You were invited to a party that you didn't really feel like going to, and now you have to go buy a gift. And oh my God, it's like this whole obligation versus you are thinking about your 20-year anniversary present and this person that you've spent 20 years with plus, because most of us don't get married on the first date. So you've spent more than 20 years with this person and you are just crafting together, using all this time and energy and money, of course, to craft together the perfect gift for someone that you deeply care about. How different is that energy? I'm telling you, the rewards that I've had from letting go of FOMO and deprogramming myself from FOMO and just realizing that as long as I focus on what genuinely interests me and appeals to me, I will be successful at it. And putting energy into something that will not be successful makes me realize like there's no need to waste time on the FOMO shit anymore. So that's my biggest first lesson. Second lesson, I had a rapid resolution therapy session, which I'm going to be talking about RRT, which is rapid resolution therapy for short, nonstop in 2023. So get fucking ready. I already have RRT principles and exercises and audios and all this fun stuff that I put inside of Epically Aligned, which, by the way, is reopened. I don't know if I officially made this announcement on the podcast, but so many people were asking me like, holy fuck. Like, well, first of all, I got so many testimonials, so many breakthroughs. People were literally manifesting their goals by the time the program, like before the program even finished. I'm sorry, but the program is for you to manifest your 2023 goals. The fact that I had so many students manifest their goals before we even got to day fucking 5 of the program, there was something magical behind this. And the only difference between other versions of Epically Aligned and this version of Epically Aligned is the rapid resolution therapy stuff that I put into it. So I'm just like, whoa, this is amazing. If you want to get inside of Epically Aligned, by the way, you're going to get instant access to it. So you don't have to wait for a specific date or a time or a week or anything like that. You get to keep the program forever, lifetime access. It's going to close officially on January 1st at midnight. And you can go to manifestationbabe.com/links or find it in the show notes. I'm going to put it somewhere there so you can sign up before the doors close, because they're going to close, I think, within the next couple days. So anyway, back to this lesson. So I was having a rapid resolution one-on-one therapy session with the founder himself, Dr. John Connolly, who is a man so in his purpose. He's 75 years old and he's still doing this, not because he needs to. It's not about the money for him. I'm sure he could have retired like long ago, but it's just he is so called to relieve suffering for people and help them rewire and shift and just release whatever it is that needs to be released from their unconscious so they can finally live a peaceful, happy, satisfying life. And I'm all about that. So I was having this session around postpartum weight loss. This is the specific thing that I brought to him on this day. Out of the, 6, 7, 8 sessions I've had with him so far in the last 2 months, it's been crazy. So in this particular session, I was telling him, hey, in the past, I'm having a lot of resistance to postpartum weight loss because in the past, I've tried all these things and they just didn't work for me. And he's like, Catherine, what specifically didn't work for you? And I, listed it all out. And he's like, what do you mean by it didn't work? And I'm like, well, it didn't work. I didn't reach my goals. And he's like, well, did you lose any weight? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so it worked. And I'm like, no, but it didn't work because I didn't reach the goals. And he's like, no. It did work because you were losing weight, right? And I'm like, right? I guess it did work, but like, what's your point with this? And he's like, it's not that it didn't work because any of these strategies, any of these weight loss, like 3D things that you can do will work for you. The difference is your energy about it, your reasoning behind it, your unconscious connection to the weight loss that will either create resistance around it or will allow you to reach your goals easily and effortlessly. And I'm like, okay, interesting. And he's like, Catherine, you're already hot. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And he's like, why do you want to be hotter? And I was like, that's interesting way of looking at it. I don't know. And he's like, you want to be hotter for the hell of it, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you don't need to be hotter. You're already hot. You just want to be hotter for the hell of it. And I'm like, something clicked in my brain there, right? And he's like, I need you to go along with me for just a moment. And, he uses metaphors. He uses just ways of talking to my unconscious mind. And he's like, Catherine, say it with me. And I'm like, okay. He's like, but you already have enough money. And then he's like, and you're supposed to say, I know. I want more for the hell of it. I'm like, okay. And then he's like, but you already have a nice house. And I'm like, I know. I want a nicer house for the hell of it. He's like, you're already hot. And I'm like, I know. I want to be hotter for the hell of it. And the more I said this, the more something lifted off my shoulders. It was this pressure that I kept around postpartum weight loss. It's pressure that I had around insert any desire that just lifted off my shoulders, because guess where this pressure comes from? And I find this as a huge mistake in the manifestation world, a huge misconception, a huge thing that people focus on that isn't serving them, that isn't useful to them. A lot of people say, I need more money. I need this. I have to have this, right? And here's the thing. When it comes to need, importance, this is important to me, I have to have this, it causes pressure. And where this pressure comes from is an unconscious connection to survival. Because what your body, what your system actually relates pressure to is breathing, food, and water. So if you're going on now a week without water, let me tell you, that's fucking real pressure right there. If you're going a week without food, that is pressure. Like that, I need to eat. Yeah, that's legit need. That's a legit, like you have to eat. Or he says, what happens if I put my hand over your mouth and your nose and just hold it there for about a minute? Like how much pressure is going to build up in your body? Like it becomes life or death. When you connect need, have to, important, or any of those phrases that create that pressure and obligation, you are telling your mind that this is life or death. And when you tell your mind that you manifesting more money or you losing weight is life or death, resistance is going to go up so high because all of a sudden you're in survival mode. Your body, your mind goes into flight or fight mode, fight or flight mode. And all of a sudden you are, well, what happens in fight or flight, first of all? Energy goes towards your jaw or energy goes towards your legs because you're trying to outrun a predator or you are fighting a predator, which through fighting, it's through the energy going into your jaw so you can bite your predator. That's where anger and fear shows up in the body. And energy leaves your brain, which means that your creativity goes down, your intellect goes down, your intuition goes down. So many systems get compromised. And we don't realize that by thinking that we're just innocently needing to manifest something, needing to reach our goals, that we are compromising the actual energy that is required for us to get there. We're not going to manifest a better life in survival mode. We're going to manifest a better life when we are in thrive mode. So this just blew my fucking mind. Of course, it made so much sense to me. And ever since I've embodied this mindset, as of like 2 months ago or a month ago now, my life has just felt so differently. And I've implemented this, of course, inside of Epically Aligned. So if you want to go deeper into this, you want to hear more about this, you want to, literally rewire your mind to see your desires and your goals differently in a more useful way, in a way that attaches interest and appeal and value to your mind so that there's no pressure. It's just pure fun and joy. I would go to Epically Aligned for that, for sure. And there's something else I wanted to say about this. Hold on. Give me a second to think about it for just a moment. It's not coming right now. Oh, yes. Okay. So, and like something else that came up around this was like looking at it as you don't need this because you've already survived up until this point without it. And so realizing that a desire, for example, if I want to create a $10 million business in 2023, if I'm coming from a place of like, I have to do it, I need to do it, of course, that creates pressure. But if I look at it as, I don't need it, I'm fine without it, I've survived without it, I've literally been able to eat without it, I've been able to breathe without it, I've been able to drink water without it, then I'm fine without it. It is an I want you, but I don't need you energy, which again, I go deeper into this in Epically Aligned. So if you're interested in more about this, and of course, actually manifesting your goals from this energy, I reopen the doors to Epically Aligned, and you can go to manifestationbabe.com/links. The doors will officially be closed January 1st at midnight. So after that, you're going to have to wait until the end of next year to get inside. Okay, so the third thing that I learned, third lesson was, okay, so there's this phrase in business: hire slow, fire fast. My team and I, especially, the hiring team, executive team, me, Brennan, and Londa, we mastered hiring slow. Let me tell you, I got people that tell me we have the most slow, long, drawn out hiring process of any company they've ever seen. And we're not like a big company. We're, between 15 and 20 people. And And I only say that because I always lose track. I never fucking know how many people we have. I just know it's more than 15 and less than 20 every time I get corrected. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm done. I'm just going to say between 15 and 20 until I know for sure we're above 20. And then I'll say between 20 and 25. We have mastered hiring slow. We used to hire really quickly. We hired the wrong people. And that's like literally me who used to hire a little bit too fast and too excited. And I've realized that it bit me in the ass. So I needed to slow down. Where we fucked up, man, is the firing fast. And there were a couple instances this year where we held on to people, not too many, thank God. Even just the fact that we let go of 2 people this year is like shocking. It's, oh my God. It's just like we are so good at our hiring process that we have amazing retention, amazing retention. It's not a place where people just come and go. I genuinely think that people are very happy on Team Manifestation Babe and yeah, other areas of our life as well, like people we hire personally as well. And the fact that we've let go of 2 people is like, holy fuck, that's a lot. But these are people that we just held on for a little too long. I don't know why. It's like I think maybe because the hiring, like thinking about rehiring in this role just felt a little too like, we don't have time. Catherine's about to give birth. Like, we'd rather have help here than have the perfect help here, which is okay sometimes, honestly. I don't think going into perfectionism mode is useful and beneficial in business either. Like, if you're looking for the perfect person to be your first hire, I say just hire someone. Hire before you're ready because you're going to learn a lot so fast that you're going to know exactly who the perfect person is. It's either them who you hired in the first place, which I have nobody on my team who were any of my first hires today because they just weren't the perfect people. I learned a lot from that experience. So maybe they end up being perfect or you just learn a lot. So we hired for a new role this year that we've never hired for before, and it just was not it. I am like, damn, I thought that this is the kind of person that I wanted in this role, but it's just not. And I'm so excited that after everything I share in my life update podcast episode, which is the next episode that you're going to get to listen to because I want to start the year. I want to start 2023 with that episode. Yeah, after that, we're going to hire that person again, different person for that role. And I can't wait to go through the hiring process again with that new clarity. So yes, big lesson. There is such thing as dead weight in your business and in your life, relationships that are just draining the entire system. And sometimes if your business is not blowing up or just an area of your life isn't thriving, there might be someone in the mix who just might be draining a little too much energy from everybody else. Let me just say that. Number 4, I realized how amazing sleep is. And losing out on sleep for things like work or business, which I used to, is overrated as fuck. Sleep deprivation, you guys, is the fastest way to lose productivity, intellect, logic, creativity, all that good stuff. And I've heard before that driving sleep deprived is like driving drunk. And I have not been doing a lot of driving in the last couple months, but let me tell you, I've been acting drunk in my own home because I'm so sleep deprived from my baby, right? And of course, when you have a newborn, you have no choice but to be a little sleep deprived. What I'm talking about is like, if you don't have a child, if you literally don't have someone depending on you in the middle of the night, don't lose sleep over stupid shit like scrolling on social media too late, or like editing a sales page too late. There's nothing that important to make you compromise a system that is so necessary for you to be the most successful. And sleep is for successful people. There's this programming that I feel like so many people have been undoing in the last couple years, which is like the whole mentality behind I'll sleep when I'm dead, or like I just got to hustle and grind till, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning and then wake up at 5 and do it all over again. It's just not it. It is actually making you less successful in the long run. Sure, pulling all-nighters might get you far or further because just even logically, you're spending more time, you have more time, there's less time sleeping, more time doing the work, but over time, you're not going to function or show up in the same way as you normally would or should, or, like kind of have to in order for you to create the success that you want to. And I really didn't appreciate sleep as much as I should have until I had a baby. And for some reason, my crazy ass decided to raise a newborn without any night help whatsoever. I did not have a night nurse, zero help. It was all me getting up in the middle of the night, and I still do twice a night. We're now 5 months in. And, even I've dealt with sleep regressions during launches. Oh my God, you guys, I'm beyond sleep deprived. And I have my reasons for why I didn't get a night nurse and all that stuff. And I didn't get a nanny until he was like 12 weeks old. But that's for another time, another episode. Just in general, like the fact that I used to scroll on TikTok or something till 2 in the morning and then not get enough sleep is just crazy. And also, I struggled with insomnia when I was postpartum, where I would tend to my son and then I would not be able to fall back asleep for like hours, and he's already waking up again and I'm still not falling asleep. And I would go like so many days in a row on just 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night. And it wasn't until, and this is just like a hot tip for you, like how can you apply this to yourself besides like, yeah, Catherine, I get it, get more sleep, get your blood work done, especially if you gave birth recently. Let your hormones kind of settle, because of course they're going to be a little out of whack at first. Let them settle, wait like 12-ish weeks, which is what I did, and then get your hormones and vitamins and minerals checked. I realized that I was extremely low, like almost zero in glutathione. And I looked up the symptoms to glutathione, or just like being deprived of it and extremely low in it. And one of the symptoms was insomnia. And as soon as I started supplementing, because I go see my holistic specialist, Dr. Joe, and he has me locked in and loaded on all my supplements. We do blood work very regularly. We do muscle testing. We do all kinds of stuff together. So he just always locked in on my body, and just loads me with whatever it is that I need, and constantly checks in and says, you don't need that anymore. Let's do a little bit less of that, a little bit more of that. And every time I've been on track with him and seeing him regularly and doing my tests regularly, it's like whatever the issue was getting fixed. It would get fixed. And so taking glutathione, I no longer have insomnia. It's not even a thing. I fall back asleep pretty quickly. So literally go get your shit checked. Number 5 is trauma can be healed very quickly. That's what I learned this year. And there's so many methodologies and so many modalities that just don't work for me anymore. Like a lot of the traditional methodologies, like traditional talk therapy, just never worked for me. But just even like certain ones where I'm like, dang, like this is just taking a little bit longer than normal, or just than I want it to take. And diving into rapid resolution therapy this year, thanks to my coach, Andrea Crowder, I've been able to clear lifelong traumas in a single session, like literally one session. I would have a trauma that's been plaguing me since I was like 8 years old, or even an infant. I cleared like a horrendous thing that happened to me as an infant. It's actually my first memory, and it resurfaced when I was 20 weeks pregnant. And it was bothering me. I couldn't sleep at night because it was bothering me so much. And I go see Dr. John Connolly, and within a session, it's gone. And I'm like, okay, wow, what else can we clear? So this is a modality that I'm currently getting certified in. I've infused it, like I said, into Epically Aligned. Pretty much every masterclass and future MBAs will have RRT infused in it. And I totally believe this is why I got so many DMs from people telling me how effective it is and how so many blocks were just completely eliminated for them so quickly. So if you're someone who has just tried everything and there's still stuff bothering you and not clearing and causing you pain and suffering, look into this modality. Look into it. Literally, you don't have to work with Dr. John Connolly himself. He is like $3,000 for 2 90-minute sessions. They're like done back to back. Not everybody is ready for that kind of investment. If you are, go for it. Literally, you have nothing to lose. I'm telling you, there's so much to gain out of it. Actually, what you're gonna lose is all the triggers. What you're gonna lose is the trauma. You have so much to gain, but there's also like people who are certified in it. And then, of course, like looking for someone who is trained in it and taking their programs, of course, as well. I brought RRT into Epically Aligned. I'm going to be bringing RRT. I get this question so much into MBA around, I want to say the second launch of 2023. And why? It's because I was talking to Dr. Connolly himself yesterday. I was interviewing him for part 2 of our podcast episode, and he said, this is not something you just learn in a weekend. This is not something you just take in once or twice and you're fully trained in it. He's like, it will take years. Comfortably, like if you're an overachiever, it'll probably take you a year, but this could easily take you years. He's like, I have people who have been training with me for decades, and they're still coming to my trainings and picking up even more and more and more. And the reason why I say second launch is because I really want to give myself a full year to integrate it, to practice it before I redo my beast of a program. Like MBA already is such a beast. It'll take me a second, and I don't do anything half-assed in my business. Like I said, my energy is a priceless gift. So once I do this, once I recreate the next version of MBA, I will be raising the price. So currently the investment is $29.99, so just under, $3,000, basically $3,000, because and this will be obviously higher because RRT is just going to make it that much more effective. And we are launching MBA. Newsflash, get ready, put it on your calendar in the first week of March. So there's going to be a March round, and that will probably be the last round that it is at the $3,000 price. And the thing is that, first of all, the version of MBA that it is already is a full manifestation mastery program. Already, the way that it is has produced thousands and thousands of testimonials and successes. But by getting into the March round, if you haven't yet, well, obviously you haven't yet, we haven't opened it. By getting into the March round, you are locking in the lowest price that MBA will ever be at, and you're going to get to take it at the version that it is already, which is already a great version, already results driven, already super effective in giving people transformations. I got literally thousands and thousands and thousands of testimonials. It's insane. And when the next version comes out, when I'm finally ready, because again, I'm not half-assing anything. I'm not going to change it just because I'm like, ooh, I can raise the price and I can make more money. Like, that's not what makes this important to me. Giving you the proper transformation is what is. So that updated version you're going to get once I update it, I believe it's going to be the second half of the year. I think it's going to be the second launch because that'll be about a year that I've been studying RRT, and I'll be ready to implement it in. And of course, I'm going to sprinkle it in every now and then in the March round. And who knows, maybe I'm ready to do this in March. I don't know yet, but people have been asking me this question nonstop. So I'm like, I need to address it on the podcast somewhere, and I'll keep addressing it, that the price will go up, but you can lock it in the way that it is in March. So if you're ready to sign up for MBA now and you're like, oh my gosh, I know that I've been sitting on the MBA launches for so many years, or maybe like the last launch that we did was your first launch and you're like, I need to get inside of MBA, definitely mark your calendar for the first week of March. So yeah, that's about RRT. Blew my mind. Something I learned, trauma can be healed very quickly. We don't have to go into the story of it. We don't have to relive it. It can just be rewired unconsciously in a way that feels actually very fun and light and freeing. is a fucking possibility. And it's amazing. Now, my sixth thing, and this episode is already much longer than I anticipated. What's new? Catherine likes to talk. This is me being the other half of my cycle where I'm like, I'm out of the cave right now and I want to speak to you. So hopefully you're enjoying this episode. So number six is never take a soul in your life for granted ever again, because they can literally croak right in front of your eyes. If you heard my episode, God, I don't remember what I titled it, but the episode where, and this happened literally when was it? June of this year. So not even 6 months ago, or just about 6 months ago, my husband passed out on me in Greece, in Mykonos, and he wasn't breathing for like 90 seconds, which, yeah, 90 seconds sounds like nothing, but if your loved one literally is with their eyes open, just almost on the ground, unconscious, looking completely dead and lifeless for 90 seconds, those 90 seconds are going to feel like 20 years. So that happened. I'm not going to go into the story because I have a whole episode breaking it down. That was a huge wake-up call to me behind utilizing my time so much more wisely and utilizing this life, this lifetime, this incarnation, this iteration of this version of myself that came here to experience what it means to be Catherine fucking Zinkina. I want to experience it to the max. And also, of course, like just never taking my husband or anyone in my life for granted ever again, because they can just disappear. All of us can disappear at any moment, and all of our loved ones can disappear at any moment. And I truly believe that this experience is what continues to inspire me to keep getting better and better and more skilled at my craft, to help people realize this as well and quickly and easily move through their shit so that they can stop wasting their time on shit that doesn't matter, doesn't move the needle forward, and maximizes their life too. Boom. I'm just going to leave that one there. Number 7. This is just a random one that I was talking about with Brennan like 20 minutes before I sat down to record this. He was like, Catherine, how is it being a mom? And I'm like, exhausting. And then I randomly said, it feels like building a new business. And so that's my lesson in that, which is number 7, which is raising a baby is sort of like building a newborn business. I believe, and I'm so grateful for my experience in running a business for the last, oh my gosh, it's been since I was 21, but running Manifestation Babe was since I was 23 years old. So we're going on 7 years now. Holy fuck. I believe that being a business owner prepared me for being a mom. It's pretty wild how similar it actually is, because this thing, whether it's this person or this entity, it's called a business and entity, needs you 24/7 in the beginning. In the beginning, the amount of time that I spent on my business, just constantly tinkering with something, changing something, shifting something, making something of it, is like a 24/7 process. It lived rent-free in my head. It still to this day lives rent-free in my head. It's like the connection between mom and baby. Your baby could be like 30 years old, but they're still your baby. I keep telling Orion, I'm like, Orion, I don't give a fuck if you're 30 years old. I literally say this. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you're 30 years old, married, and you already have your own children. You're still my baby. I'm always going to remember you as my baby. You're always going to be my baby. And that's how my business is to this day. Of course, it's still my baby, even though I look at it more as like a teenager now. It's like it has like it just needs me a little bit less, you know? It's like if I'm too involved, I hold it back. So really freeing myself has helped so much from letting the business kind of breathe and take form of its own. It's just kind of like releasing the helicopter parenting. So there's so many like parenting metaphors that I could use for business. It's pretty wild. there's always something happening that you didn't expect, like with the baby has a blowout, the baby has spits up, he starts crying, you don't know why, he's fussy for no reason. It just really puts you into full surrender mode, especially when my kid is not napping when he should be napping. It's like something in your launch isn't going when it should be going, and you're just, you don't sleep very much. You think about it all the time. And there's even a joke. It's kind of funny. I was actually having this thought. I don't know if this thought makes me a bad mom. I mean, I don't want to give myself labels as like good or bad mom. I just am. Like, I don't think that's useful to think about it that way. But I remember being like, the other day, I'm like, damn, if I really knew all that it entailed, would I still be a mom? I don't know. I don't know if I would. This is a fucking lot. And I think that's the gift that nature gives us, is it really, like, I was telling my friend Ashley, she was asking me for advice. She was like, she was, I don't know, a week out from giving birth. She was past her due date or whatever time frame it was. She was very close to her due date or very close to giving birth. And she's like, Catherine, like, what else can I do to prepare myself? And I was like, Ashley, nothing can prepare you. Absolutely nothing. And I have no experience with babies. My baby is my first baby that I've ever held or ever interacted with. I literally had no baby experience whatsoever. And she's had many baby experiences. And now being on the other side, we both agree, like, nothing prepares you for your own child. And there's this joke I have with my entrepreneur friends where we sometimes joke that if we knew how much it took to build a business, we probably would have never started a business. It's just so much. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's so worth it. I can't think of a more fulfilling thing for me than sitting here in this boardroom on Christmas Eve while there's not much going on in my house. Like, everything's kind of done. The laundry's going. I just showered, yes, I do shower as a mom. I figure out how to make it happen every now and then. And there's nothing more fulfilling than sitting here and talking to you. There's nothing more fulfilling than seeing my son smile and babble to me, even though it's fucking hard. So if you're a business owner right now and you're thinking about parenthood, I would say that if you can build a business, you can raise a baby. That's good news. And if you're a mom right now, if you can raise a baby, I'm telling you, you can build a business. Like, if you have a genuine desire to build a business, you can do it. So those are my lessons. I'm curious to hear what you think, what your feedback is. As always, send me a DM, tag me on Instagram, take a screenshot of you listening to this episode. Let me know what your takeaways are. I can't read every single DM I get, but my team does, and they always send me updates and feedback and things that have been shared. So even if it's my team getting back to you, the stuff is always being communicated to me. I'm very much aware of what's going on in my DM inbox, and then every now and then I'm in there answering back myself, and I always see my story mentions. I see all of them. So curious to hear what you think. And coming up in the next podcast is going to be me giving you a massive life update and where we're going in 2023. This is fucking huge, you guys. So much has changed. So much unexpected stuff has happened. So much has been coming up for me. So much has been releasing for me. So let's fucking go. Also, last reminder, get inside of Epically Aligned if you haven't. It's only one single investment of $222. It's one of my lower offers. And also, if you are in for Epically Aligned, you can apply your deposit. You can apply your investment into Epically Aligned towards MBA launch in March of 2023, which is awesome. It's like getting Epically Aligned for free if you plan on signing up for MBA. So you can go to manifestationbabe.com/links. Again, that's manifestationbabe.com/links. Love you so much. Have an amazing, amazing holiday season. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming your way. If you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up the extra inspiration on Instagram by following @manifestationbabe or visiting my website at manifestationbabe.com. I love and adore you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and manifest some magic.